Welcome to the Explainer. So, is your team all hyped up about AI, but kind of struggling to get any real projects off the ground? Well, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to break down a 5 step playbook that'll help you get from that chaotic, messy experimentation phase to seeing some clear, impactful results. But first, why do so many of these AI projects just fizzle out? It usually comes down to one massive but surprisingly common mistake that teams make right at the very beginning. So here's what we're going to cover. We'll start by really nailing down the core problem. Then we're going to bust 3 common myths that completely derail AI projects. After that, we'll dive right into the 5 step playbook. Everything from building your workspace to rethinking roles and, of course, actually proving your success. You see, the single biggest trap that companies fall into is what's called the Big Bang approach. This is that temptation to roll out some huge top-down AI strategy all at once. It sounds ambitious, right? But in a field that is changing literally by the day, it is almost guaranteed to fail. The real solution is to think small. Yeah, think micro. Instead of trying to boil the ocean all at once, you focus on smaller, contained projects where you can get some quick wins on the board. This builds momentum, and more importantly, it gives your team the confidence and the actual real-world skills to take on bigger challenges down the road. Now, let's talk about the flawed thinking that leads to these big bang failures in the first place. These are the common myths that just stop teams from ever getting started on the right foot. And there are 3 big ones that seem to get in the way constantly. So let's knock them down, one by one. Okay, myth number 1. You need a big top-down mandate. Nope. A bottoms-up approach, driven by the people actually doing the work, is way more effective. Second, don't try to cram powerful AI into your old rigid workflows. It's like putting a rocket engine on a bicycle. It is just a recipe for disaster. And third, you don't need a super strict centralized policy. AI thrives on flexibility, and a rigid rulebook is only going to stifle the very innovation you're trying to spark. So if the old way is totally broken, how do you actually move forward? Well, the answer is this 5 step playbook. Think of it as your roadmap to get from chaos to clarity, and it's designed to help you sidestep all those common pitfalls we just talked about. The playbook follows a really clear, logical path. It all starts with creating a dedicated workspace. That's your foundation. Then it moves on to redefining your team's roles for this new reality. From there, you'll orchestrate the actual work, you'll visualize your progress so everyone gets it, and finally, you'll measure your return on investment. Okay, let's dive into step 1, building your workspace. You see, successful AI adoption isn't about buying the latest, fanciest tools. It's about creating a shared, central space where your teams can actually collaborate and build stuff together. Think of this workspace as your team's digital headquarters for all things AI. It's way more than just a shared folder or some chat channel. It's a purpose-built environment designed for this new way of working. It's where your AI strategy stops being some boring document and actually starts becoming a reality. This whole workspace is really built on 3 key pillars. First, you've got a prompt library, which is where you capture and share your team's collective knowledge. Second, an agent library to turn the expertise of your subject matter experts into repeatable processes. And third, a collaboration tool, something like Notebook LM, to bring everything and everyone together in one spot. You know how every team has that tribal knowledge, those super valuable insights and little tricks that just live in a few people's heads? A prompt library, and this can be as simple as a shared spreadsheet to get started, is the first crucial step to getting that knowledge out of people's heads and turning it into a powerful, consistent, and shareable asset for the entire team. And what's really cool is once you have this shared workspace, the very nature of your team's work just begins to change. And that brings us right to the next essential step in the playbook, redefining roles. This is where the 10-80-10 rule comes into play. Humans provide the initial 10% of strategic direction and that final 10% of creative polish and judgment. The AI, it takes care of the 80% of the heavy lifting in between, all the drafting, the data processing, the summarization. Your team's role fundamentally shifts from being the doers to being the expert curators. So you can forget all the fear-mongering about AI taking jobs. A much healthier and frankly more accurate way to think about it is that AI isn't a replacement, it's a companion. It's like a useful parrot that has access to all the world's information, but it still needs your human intelligence and your expertise to guide it. All right, so you have your workspace, your roles are starting to evolve. Now it's time to actually put it all into action. Let's look at the final 3 steps that turn this foundation into a repeatable system for getting real results. Step 3 is all about execution. Orchestration just means finding smart ways to plug your new AI workspace directly into your team's daily workflows. The key here is to start with low-risk, high-impact projects. Don't try to automate the entire company on day one. Instead, find a repetitive reporting task or a content brainstorming session and prove the value there. These little victories build the momentum for the bigger stuff. Let's be honest, AI can often feel like a black box, right? And that ambiguity can create fear or resistance. That's why step 4, visualization, is so critical. By creating clear maps of your data flows and your workflows, you completely demystify the process. A simple flowchart showing how a prompt from your library feeds an agent that generates a report, that makes it tangible and trustworthy for everyone, from your engineers to your sales team. And finally, step 5 is about measuring your success. And this goes way beyond just the financial ROI. Of course, you track that, but you should also track quantitative metrics, like how much faster you're shipping products, and this is crucial, qualitative metrics. Is your team happier? Are they spending less time on tedious work and more time on creative problem solving? That right there is a massive return on investment. So here's the ultimate takeaway from all of this. Don't get caught up in chasing the latest, shiniest AI tools. They will always be changing. True long-term success comes from building a repeatable methodology, a human-centric system that empowers your team to collaborate, to learn, and to innovate together. This playbook gives you a clear path to be intentional with AI. So the question to leave you with is this: are you in the driver's seat, actively building a system for success, or are you just along for the ride? Because the answer to that will make all the difference.